See, it worked.
We did it. We did it. We did it.
We had the terrible countdown, the cheesy generic StreamYard countdown. All right.
You may notice our media video broadcast whiz John is not with us tonight, so we're kind of living in the dark ages of technology, but it's all right. We do have the layout and stuff, so we all good. But yeah, miss John. We'll see you in a couple days. But hello everybody. How's it going?
What's up?
What's up? How you doing?
I don't know if we have anybody watching yet. I'm sure we do.
We get 6. We get 9.
9.
It's building up. Building up.
All right. Yeah. So what's going on, folks? Kennebec week.
Kennebec week.
Kennebec, the sleeper event of the season.
It will absolutely be the sleeper event of the season. And it's kind of hilarious because it's not planned, but like we've heard from multiple sources who actually would know that the Kennebec's fishing like better than it has in years this year, which is not part of the plan, but it's going to be interesting. And I don't know, do we know that? Do you know the guy's name that fishes there, or should we not say his name?
I won't say his name. I do know his name. I don't want, I wouldn't say his name and then have a bunch of people bombarding him with like questions.
Good point. But there is somebody who is slaying massive fish. There's a local who is like, we were told to like last year, check out this guy's page. He's hammering the fish, and they were good fish. And
that's the guy that we met last year.
We met him at the ramp, but he knew us somehow. He knew us somehow, which was weird. I still don't. I mean, I feel bad. Anyways, if you haven't been watching, sorry. But if you know this person, I know I'm trying to be mysterious, but he recently caught a 6.5 pounder out of there. So
7.2.
7.2.
7.2.
7.2 out of a river with no fish. So that's pretty good, I would say.
I was looking at his page, and he, in one of his posts, he says this river is a gift from God. His words.
Bold words. Those are bold words.
Yeah. So you guys are missing out if you're not fishing this one. No, seriously though, we've said it all along that we think this river, while it's not as well known as some other locations, it fished really well for us. No giants, but we caught a ton of fish, and we caught some decent ones. And people are pre-fishing now, and they're doing well. So I think it's going to be
Judy. John and Judy took a trip last week. To check it out, which thank you to both of them for sharing that experience, and like the quality of fishing that was on the Kennebec. So I think that, at least for me, kind of reminded me, kind of like woke me up a little bit. Like, one, we got an event next week, and two, glad it's showing up. And yeah, we've gotten to experience it. We won't share that story again, but in a very short amount of time, we had a really productive day of fishing that, honestly, like, it's one of those days that you go home happy every day fishing that place. So, especially with the numbers. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
The weather's going to be amazing this week, all week.
Oh, I haven't even looked. That's good. Good.
Yeah.
Nice. And we'll be up Wednesday. Yeah, we'll be up Wednesday. So if anybody that is planning to fish or that is signed up already or whatever, if you're going to be around on Wednesday, let us know. We'd like to come out to you, maybe get a little interview with you, some footage of you on the water. So shoot us a message if you're going to be there.
Content for the broadcast. We're trying to make sure we get everybody gets the opportunity to do it. We'll be around other days during the week as well. So there's a few people. We kind of go through our registrations before the event, and this time we're going to reach out to a few folks, just given that it's a river and the amount of distance. It's not like a lake where it's like, oh, this is a common ramp, go here and you'll find folks. So we're going to try to coordinate that. Tomorrow you should be getting, some folks will be getting a message from us. We'll try to coordinate it. It can be Wednesday. It can also be Friday, that we're around. Thursday or whichever day we end up doing like our staff tournament, it's all in the name of creating content for the broadcast. That's what this would be for as well. So we'd feature the interview on there. Any on the water footage we would feature as well, but you can also use that footage later on. So,
shut it, Jake.
Drumsticks. He's supporting you. He's on your team. He's on your team. He's on your team.
Is he though? I thought he said flats.
No, Ken's the closet flat guy.
Sorry, Jake.
Wow.
Did he say drumsticks? I thought he was.
Yes, he did.
He did.
I thought he was being sarcastic. My bad.
Not many people. That's why it's tough to remember.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
My daughter, she likes the flats. I was like, "You're out of this house. Get out of here."
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So yeah, what else? We're banning forward-facing sonar, right?
Yeah.
Just get right into it.
Yeah.
Did you guys? I'm sorry, Jacob. Serious, sorry.
We're gonna do like every other hour you can use it.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to complicate it.
We're gonna put kill switches on everybody so they can.
Did you guys talk about that last time?
No,
I missed that event. What did we talk about last? Or not event? Last podcast.
We had Qua on.
Did you guys talk about next year? Have we talked about anything like that? The schedule. Have we talked about? I can't remember. Never mind.
I don't know where you're going, but
yeah,
probably not.
I might be maybe dropping hints or something. We'll just move on from that. Sorry.
Now people think you dropped a hint. That is not. This was not planned.
So cryptic.
It's not. We're not banning forward-facing sonar. That was a total joke.
Yeah, no.
For the record.
Ken's just laying down Easter eggs
even,
out here.
Yeah, that's not even to be discussed, by the way. So
yeah, no, we're not.
Don't read into it there any more than there is. But so for content interviews, like if we can make that work, please let us know. And if you haven't heard already, you haven't read the email that we sent out through Fishing Chaos or the post we shared on our Facebook page. If you're still on the fence about fishing the event, or if you're not fishing because there's lack of places to stay, we have and admittedly last minute Ken's worked his butt off trying to get this to find out if there's availability or not. There's a big wedding going on at Snow Pond, but it's not full, so there's some cabins and dorm rooms available. Really affordable, especially for cabins. It's like $100 a night. And that's split amongst 4 people, so it's really affordable. If you're looking to stay there, what, Ken?
I think she said you can have a couple, like 2 or 3, like so per cabin. So
per cabin, okay, yeah. So
$100 per cabin, and there's only 6 left.
Yeah, and so and read. There's like a whole. Ken put the description out there. I'm gonna mess up the details, but take a look at that. And we are, to make it a little easier for Snow Pond, we are collecting the payments, and then we are going to pay Snow Pond. So if it seems a little weird that we're like, and pay us, like just letting you know now, that's why. There's nothing sketchy going on. We're just Snow Pond isn't set up to be like a resort hotel type experience the way we've done it in the past. So we're just trying to help them out for helping us out. So let us know if that's something you're interested in. Dorm rooms are what, 60 a night, Ken? 65 a night. And those are just, like they say, just a basic room. First come, first serve, I believe, on those. But for those who are staying, well, Jake's cabin, there is a wedding going on, so just be mindful of that. And not that we've ever really been all that noisy of a group, but if you see a wedding going on, just be mindful of that. And you don't want to face the wrath of an angry bride, that's for sure. So don't put yourself in harm's way, just in case you get a bridezilla in that one. Is there anything else on that, Ken, that I missed? Just reach out to us if you have any questions on that. Boat and weed inspections. That's one we need to talk about. Ken hasn't heard me yet. Have you heard me?
I heard you. I'm the one that remembered it.
Yes, Ken put a plan together. Do you want to share the plan?
Hold up. Wait a minute. Where is the? Yeah, I don't know. It's Waterville, right? Is that where
It's in Waterville. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those who haven't,
so we're gonna meet in Waterville. It's not. Man, where is it? I have no idea where it is now.
So we're going to be doing it in person.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing. We'll share the details after this, but we're going to be doing an in-person weed inspection from 5 to 7 on Friday night is the aim, right? If I get that time right?
Yeah.
We'll confirm all the details, the time and location and all of that, but the goal is to be there for a couple of hours so that we can do kayak, the weed inspections on the kayaks. If you fish an event in Maine before, these are serious, like they take the weed inspection seriously, we have to file paperwork. So please be sure to do that. We don't want to have to disqualify somebody for not getting a weed inspection. That being said, if you're not going to be in the area or if you're driving up to the tournament the morning of, please connect with us, one of the directors, because we have to figure out something to get you a weed inspection. There's a bunch of people who are qualified to do the weed inspections. So it doesn't necessarily mean diverting you out of the way on Saturday morning of the event. It just means we have to figure out who's going to be where so we can get you inspected and you'll be good. For those who come on Friday, we'll put the ribbon on your kayak the way we used to so that we can, if there's a marshal or a lake host at the ramp as early as we're going to be there, which is doubtful, but if they are, they can see the boat is sealed, it's been looked at, hasn't been in the water since, then we can take care of that. But it's really important for our for the future of EKF in terms of getting permits in Maine. So we have to. This is something we've always had to do. We've done it at Snow Pond. Nothing serious, takes maybe 15, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 45 seconds if we find something, but super simple. So yeah, make sure your kayak is registered. We will need the whole ID number. So yeah, make sure we can get all that information and we'll be good. But if you have any questions about that, let us know. Again, if you're not going to be there on Friday night, let us know so that we can figure out an arrangement for you and make sure everything's good. So, all right. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to throw it in the chat. Hopefully we'll see it. If not, we can respond to it later on. Cool.
All right, I just updated the tournament description with a link to the location. It's just it's a parking lot that is down by the 2 Cent Bridge in Waterville. It says downtown Waterville Farmers Market. I don't know if that's actually. I don't see anything there, so that might be mislabeled. But
must just be where it is.
It's right there on the river. So,
yeah. All right, cool. The weed inspections, the fun of a lifetime. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, looking forward to this week. What about you guys?
What's that? Sorry,
I'm looking forward to. Yeah, it's good. I'm looking forward to this week.
Sorry, you got me distracted.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a good event. I think it's going to be back and forth. I think it's going to be a shootout to the end. I don't think it's going to be one person has a whole bunch and they're all trying to catch them. I think it's going to be back and forth.
Do you have any experience on the Kennebec, being from Maine?
I actually, I think I went out there with some buddies years and years ago, but never on a kayak. So I've been down the whitewater part of it. I haven't done the fishing part of it. So.
Yeah, for people that are a little worried about that, when you get up toward the northern boundary, if you look at the bridge, if you look at Street View, and there looks to be a lot of current right there, which I assume there is some when they release the dam, because there's just a straight shot on the north of that dam. It's just a straight shot. It looks almost man-made where the dam is, and so I'm assuming when they release some water, it can probably get moving right there. But there were some people that were concerned about it being like whitewater, because the river is known for that, but that's not in that section. Like, we reached out, and I might have mentioned this in the past, but we reached out to one of the it's Three Rivers Whitewater or something like that. I reached out to them and spoke to them just to make sure. And the lady there, she said she fishes out of her kayak, and it's a paddle kayak, and she fishes all around there, and people wade out by the bridge. She also said there were like some hieroglyphics or something like that right under the bridge. Something like that. Not hieroglyphics. I'm pretty sure that's like the Egyptian stuff, but something like that. Maybe some Indian things. But anyway, if anybody's interested in taking a look at that, just let me know, and I could probably get you exactly what she said in the email. But yeah, right there at that bridge is something cool.
Wait, she threw that in the email?
Yeah, she did.
Like, this is a little tidbit for you.
Yeah. I don't know why, but it was cool.
The Whitewater is way further north.
Yeah, it's north further of that. It's a few hours away. It can get moving up there, but what was the reason? I lost it. It's that ADHD, right, Adam?
Well, we're trying to bring up we're bringing up Chris's experience there, but I'm just excited to get back to Maine, the fishing in Maine. If you've never been fishing in Maine, like it is like a different planet. And as somebody who's from New Hampshire, I can be in Maine in like 15 minutes or so, but the the fishing in that general area, you have Great Pond in the vicinity, you have Messalonsky, which is one of my favorite places, which never would have fished if it wasn't for tournaments. But I think the Kennebec's going to be added to that list this week. Not that I'm going to be fishing it, but I mean for other folks as well. What do you guys think the catch total is going to be for this one? I think it's going to be pretty high.
It depends. I would say mid 80s, unless
say
somebody can get a big kicker, like a big.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Not limit, numbers, total number fish caught, total fish caught for this event. It's going to be high, I think.
It's going to be high. I mean, depends on how many. Yeah, I mean, I think based on what we did, I think people are going to catch a lot of fish. There'll be a lot of smaller ones, but we know that just from talking to people that there are bigger ones there. Like I said, I caught like a 17-inch smallie right there at the ramp. So there's good smallies in it. There's good largemouth.
Yeah. Coincidentally, the guy that we've been talking to, that you were talking about earlier, all I ever see is are largemouth. So
yeah,
they're both in there. So
the cool thing about this place, man, is it's so like there's so much in such a small amount of space that like they kind of cross boundaries a little bit, right? Like when I caught a smallmouth in like the middle of weeds. So it's like
that was weird
that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's a really interesting place that way, and it's I think it's gonna be good. I'm trying to think, like, if I had to guess, depending on, I'm gonna say based on like 30 anglers, I'm gonna say 300 fish.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah, I think there'll be that many, especially you look on Fishing Chaos, it counts all the culled fish, so yeah, it's gonna be high, I think, unless I mean. It could be tough. I mean, I don't know if the fall transition is happening in Maine or New Hampshire, but I tend to think it's happening down here in Massachusetts. So it could be tough. It might just, the last couple events just might have been rough. But yeah, it's been kind of tough down here, especially last weekend on the river. It was brutal.
It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, because it's people are going to be upgrading by a quarter inch. You know what I mean? Like you're going to get like those fish in the 14, 16 range, like you're going to find them, and it's going to be like a lot of like people culling up like 16 flat to 16.25, 16, 7.5.
You never know though. I mean, we didn't see much of the river. So, I mean, there could be sections that are, a lot of weeds, get guys out there with frogs, a lot of laydowns, flipping, and maybe we'll see a really big limit put up, There's a lot. There won't be a lot of small fish caught. Yeah. I mean, we were there for 3 hours. Let's put it that way. If these guys put the time in, and gals, we got some ladies fishing with us. But if they put the time in, and I mean, like I wish I could fish it more. I wish we were fishing. You know what I mean? Like I really did like the short period of time we had there, and I would love to fish it some more. Just because it does look really, really cool.
I mean, we only put in 3 hours said and done. 3 hours, It was really quick. So Jake's saying it's going to take 91 to 92.
There we go.
I like that. I think that's
with a kicker. You have to have a kicker.
Yeah, somebody's going to find smallmouth, and then they're going to go after that largemouth.
Yeah, it's happened twice already this year.
I think it's gonna like that's the part that as I like every time I think back to it was like, man, I don't even think we might have covered like a half mile from the ramp, right? Like we might have done a half mile from the ramp, and that's it. And we were just and I'll tell you, I left having a pretty darn good day in that half mile. But there's like I've been looking at it on a map here and there, I think what Jake's saying is correct. I wouldn't be surprised because there's so many little nooks and crannies that you really can't even see from Google.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you zoom in, you get tree cover, like these little sort of inlets, these coves.
We went about a mile, by the way.
Did we? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like
4,400 feet.
If we're pre-fishing, what would we do? Well, like way more than that.
Oh yeah.
Like way more.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 5, 6, 7. I mean, I remember in Gunnersville a couple of years ago, I did 12 miles on the old Jackson,
E-Drive.
E-Drive. Are you home yet?
3.5 miles per hour max.
Are you back yet, or are you still making your way back?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it took forever, but I was out there for a long time. But calm day. It had to be a calm day. You couldn't any waves or wind. You weren't going anywhere really. At one point, I remember at Pickwick, I was going backwards, motor on full blast, going backwards. Those were the days.
I'm curious. I have a question for Jake if he's still here. When he says 91, 92, I'm curious if that's prime largemouth, smallmouth, or a mix.
I'm not sure he's going to answer that one.
Oh, I said I said I'm curious.
I'm just curious to know if that 91, 92 is for smaller fish and a kicker, or if that's actually 5 solid bass.
I was gonna ask what lunker is, but that's just like a sidestep way of asking the same thing.
I think.
Don't tell me, Jake. Good luck to you.
Somebody's gonna catch a giant. I think.
I mean, they're in there, so somebody does. Yeah.
Somebody will get a big one. Probably be a few.
5 solid bass, awesome. Jake is saying.
Nice. That's good. I mean, that's that's kind of what we were hoping for, what we were expecting. So that's good to know.
Absolutely. Yeah. So hopefully everybody, I was actually I have a new topic, Ken.
Go for
Chris.
it.
I got another topic. We're running out. Let me just close with, we close the Kennebec conversation with, if you're coming up on Wednesday, or if you're coming up to pre-fish and you'd like to be interviewed or have us film you on the water, if you're willing, please just reach out to us so we can coordinate that. It just makes it easier for us. Everyone be safe during pre-fishing. If you have any questions or any issues when you get up there, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're happy to help. Just reach out. If you have questions about a ramp, all of that stuff, as always, better safe than sorry, reach out to us. We won't publicize it necessarily unless it's like something has changed and it's against so it's like a special accommodation that we can all have. But anyway, not going to get into that, but just reach out to us if you have any questions or issues. So I figured a good topic to transition to, kind of an obvious one, but what do we think about some of the changes Bassmaster is making? What is the NPFL? And I actually have no idea what MLF did. To be honest, but the others,
I can't remember.
What do we think?
I don't know if MLF has yet.
I thought
they did something with the Toyota series. They got rid of the Toyota series on the West Coast, but it doesn't matter. So let's talk about the electronic stuff primarily.
I don't know. I mean, I think NPFL. A lot of people freaked out. And said they're screwing up. Milliken, I think, posted a video like this was the end of NPFL, something like that. But I think if you read their reasoning, right, because everybody thought it was, acted like it was like this knee-jerk reaction, but their reasoning was sound, and it wasn't necessarily about the technology. It was about the industry, and how if we go in this direction where it kind of was going, where everybody's using the forward facing, right? Even, God won it on forward facing. Oh, that's right. Yep. That's what they did. Yep. Only one period. But, somebody used forward facing down on Okeechobee and won, which is
that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. But I said from the beginning that you could use it. You could use that stuff shallow. I do it. I have it on all the time. I've said that before. I just like looking ahead. Maybe I can't see the fish, but I could see the grass and, grass clumps and all that stuff. And so I have it on all the time. So you can definitely do it in shallow water. So, we get to a point where if that's just where the pros are going, and, of course, people, regular everyday anglers, they're influenced by the pros. And so if the other baits and everything aren't selling as well, that's bad for the industry. So
is that a thing that's happening? I haven't even thought of that.
I don't know. It's a good argument, at least, but I don't know if it's happening. But I would imagine there's been some a down tick in sales of certain baits. You know what I mean?
That was one thing we heard when talking about it. Right? Was that like if they ban forward facing, or I don't know if it was. I think it was just banning was the conversation, but like it's going to hurt all of their main sponsors of these companies. And so it's like, interesting. I guess that's one side to it, but when you really think about it, they're like such a small sliver of companies within the larger like fishing sport, right? So yeah, yes, crankbaits aren't what.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
another thing, with NPFL, I mean, and it's kind of like what I've always said, like, when you have like certain trails that kind of compete with each other, right? They try to. It's like there's plenty of anglers to go around. Remember when everybody dropped from Bassmaster and started going over to MLF and all that, and people were up in arms? It's like, well, those guys aren't the best in the world. They're just the ones that They're
But
the
they
best.
made the walk of shame back. Most of them were tried.
Well, of course, yeah, right. But there are so many good anglers out there, and so if NPFL bans forward facing, there are plenty of anglers that are going to go to NPFL, and there are plenty of anglers that'll fill their spots. Because that's kind of a good business move on their part. If there are all these, anglers that have been around for a long time, some of the the legends of the sport or whatever, they may make the transition now from Bassmaster or MLF or whatever and go fish NPFL. They do a good job. That being on fixed TV is a little ghetto,
Yeah, and it's not accessible. Like,
yeah, it's kind of weird, and it just doesn't look the website doesn't look good with the colors and stuff. It just
you have to pay for it, right?
No, you can watch it for free. I think you get more content if you pay the subscription. But still, I mean, whatever, if they do bring in some of these bigger anglers and their viewership goes up, maybe they'll get a broadcast deal somewhere or something, on a more legit platform. But it's still a good business move if you look at it like that. Like, hey, we're going to pull in some of these legends, of the sport. Not the Randy Blockett's, he's got his own deal on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
But the actual guys who was the one that posted about it recently. I can't remember who it was. Jesse Wiggins or no, maybe not him. Maybe he's one. I don't know. Anyway, somebody one of the pros talked about it and basically how they use it, but they don't like it. It shouldn't be a part of the sport. Blah blah blah. And some of the other anglers kind of trashed them and stuff. So it's very divisive. I mean, the whole side. I mean, it has been for years, But again, let NPFL do it. Anglers will fish with them, and anglers will watch it, and fans will watch it, and then, some won't. So, but there's plenty of anglers to go around. There's plenty of viewers, So
yeah,
to me, it's just kind of like I'll be interested to see if who makes the jump over to NPFL, if anybody does.
I mean, I don't know if anybody will, but I do think it's a bold. Like we're at a weird part with it though. Like it used to be a couple of years ago, it was too early, right? Like it was like we didn't understand. There's a lot we didn't know about. There's the impacts we weren't sure about. I feel like both organizations have taken the right amount of time. Now, if that was their motivation is another question. I don't know. But like Bassmaster, I feel like really took some time to like just kind of see where it went before reacting, which I think was a smart move. But I do think this year, like, when in the early spring or like right before, or I think it was right between the first and second Elite Series event, they start putting out the videos of like, hey, what's your bass boat setup? And I mean, this is when we start introducing the $50,000 electronics alone on a bass boat. Please don't ever do that on a kayak. Like, holy crap!
Don't make us start changing the rules.
Yeah, like when we have to start designating inches of screen space on a kayak, we're gonna.
When I bought the 12-inch screen when I first got forward facing, and I described it as remember the Flintstones when Fred pulls up to like the restaurant, they put those ribs on the side of the car, and the car like that's what I felt like when I had a 12-inch screen on the side of my kayak.
It was like a sail, like pulling you over.
It was just enormous. You know what I mean? And I mean, there are guys that probably have some bigger ones. I know if you look at Ray Morales' photos,
yeah.
Have you seen the photos? The perspective of his screen looks so enormous. But I think it's just a perspective of a screen. Like, but I mean, it looks huge, and
it's because he takes a picture from up high with a wide angle lens. So it looks like a curved monitor in some way.
Right? Yeah. But at some point, you might get somebody out there that does have that 30-inch screen on their kayak. You know what I mean?
Oh, God, please, I mean, Please don't. You're going to spend a lot of money, and I don't know,
Yeah.
but like, it definitely felt like this year was a bit of a turning point, right? Like when we're talking about what was the first event? It was last year. What was the event? It was on Champlain, I think, and Fujita won. Caio Fujita won, and then this year, or was it last year? He like wouldn't let anybody see his setup, like he. And then this year we saw, like at the beginning of the season, we saw people setting up their, and it was like any section that they break down a boat into sections. Like every single section had an active target, or transducer somewhere, or like the back of one had in different modes. And I'm like, I get the appeal of having them angled, and all the options. I totally do, but like, what an amazing first world problem,
Definitely a little overkill.
I mean,
I don't mind that. I like that what Bassmaster did, limiting it like that. To
me, it's an added level of competition. That's kind of how I viewed it, right? So it's like it's not banning it, but it's.
So they just limited the technology. They didn't.
Yeah.
They can only have one transducer.
Well, what's gonna be interesting.
The screens have to be below 52 inches.
Yeah, Randy Blockett said it. It's really not going to change anything.
No, well, in a way, I mean, sort of. It'll help. I think it'll help with like some of the maybe late adopters, but like the part of it that I'm curious about. I don't know if anybody watching or listening follows Formula One racing at all, which is something that that I do watch. But it's like they start off with like here's what your car needs to be like, right? And then teams start like finding loopholes in like these guidelines, right? And it's a constant like if one team gets an edge and like they've interpreted a rule differently, right? Which I think like is kind of like our worst nightmare, right? As people who run EKF, like. I interpreted the rule this way. It's like, shit, we didn't word it right. But it's also kind of the game, right? Like, as you're finding those loopholes. And I'm curious to see with things like screen size, with things like, because how, like, if you get a screen size, like a TV, say 32-inch TV, it's like a diagonal measurement.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, like, I'm wondering who's going to be the person to expose, like, and this is just an example. I'm not going to say it. Like XYZ brand, their 9 inches actually 8.37. I want that additional 0.6, whatever. They're going to get that meticulous with the measurement, or like, I'm just the little things that can happen now with it. It's like, so one transducer mounted here, like who's going to come out with the transducer that's not technically that, but gives you this, or, whatever the case may be. Like, I'm just kind of curious to see how that goes. What do you think? You think we want to see some of that, or you think it's just going to be accepted and move on?
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. I mean, I was shocked that they made the changes they made this year, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah. And as people who took a risk maybe recently with a certain schedule for the season, we know how sensitive things like that can be, like how sensitive like a decision like to ban or to even taper back the use of forward-facing sonar could potentially be. Bassmaster could probably survive a little longer than like MLF or NPFL, but still, that's a tough decision to make. Yeah.
What do you think for our schedule next year? We've had people win it with forward-facing. We've had people win it. Doing something else. How many events do you think it'll play in every event next year? Or do you think anybody will win it without using it?
That has been a bit of a one piece of feedback I've heard that's not like extremely positive about our schedule next year. Has been like, what? So people can just use forward-facing sonar, or people just going to be on their honey holes. Now, this has been from a very small, in terms of like the percentage of feedback we've gotten about our schedule for next year. We've only gotten a little bit. It's a typical amount, I will say. I mean, that's what we should start referring to. It's typical amount. Like no matter what, we always get a little bit. It doesn't matter which way we go, and that's okay. But like the little bit of criticism we've gotten or I've heard about our schedule next year is just that, like, oh, this is going to be another one like that. The way we're thinking about it is an opportunity to fish these amazing bodies of water.
Yeah,
you know,
I think
like
Cayuga has a shot at being one.
Without it?
Without it, yeah, for sure. And then Messalonsky Great Pond.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Great Pond, no. The Great
Pond
aspect.
Messalonsky, maybe.
Yeah, if you're fishing, Messalonsky, but if you're fishing Great Pond, no, you're definitely going to need it. It depends.
I don't know. I mean, I say that's only true until
Champlain, it's not. We have to obviously talk about Champlain. We've always kind of cut off the lake and fished certain areas, north, south, inland sea. So we got to talk about that and figure out what we're going to do with that. George could be one without it for sure. Get on a dock bite, something like that. It can definitely be one.
Oh, for sure. This is a good point here.
Yeah, that's true. But he's a very specific
place.
Very specific. Yeah, he looks for those creeks and stuff. And if those don't, I mean, I'm not saying he can't catch them otherwise. And I don't know, obviously, everywhere he fishes. But I know he struggled at some places where he couldn't find that. Like Winnipesaukee, right? I believe he struggled there. He went down. He said he fished a creek area. So it had to be Alton Bay, maybe?
Must have been.
The end of the southern end of Alton Bay.
And that's no disrespect to Drew Gregory. I got a ton of respect for Drew Gregory. He's an OG, but Ken's right. Like if you don't have, he's a river specialist, river creek specialist. And if he doesn't, so I mean that's his thing, and that's great. But if you put him on a place like I'd be curious to see how he would do. And honestly, if like in any lake where like some of the tributaries were cut off, right, or like limited.
I mean, he'd do himself a favor by getting. Does he have it? I don't know if he has it. Because you can't find your strength every event. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if he's a big time river guy, not every event has rivers. Is
that more going? Anybody whining about anything with that schedule is a giant baby? Nobody's really whining that too much. No. But I appreciate that.
No, we just get the it's just the standards, like I mean, hey, listen, we changed this year's schedule because we were trying to accommodate, not necessarily not accommodate, but we heard people and
we're trying to be receptive.
Let's go to some different places. And I've always said, I love that. I love going to different places, and I was all on board with trying new stuff, and didn't work out. So, we're gonna keep going to the places that are big draws, right? I mean, it's the only way it works. I mean, we've got 16 people signed up for this event. We had 29 for St. Lawrence, something like that. I mean, it's brutal, So let's go where people want us to go, and that's how it goes. Where else are we fishing next year? George, Champlain, Cayuga, Susky. Yeah, it won't come into play there, I don't think.
I think that's safe to say, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one. We got to watch, hopefully we can fish it. I know a couple of years ago, the weather, I think it was June, they had a KBF event that was canceled because the river was too high. And then I've talked about it before. They forced it through in October, and the water was still way too high. And this was before most people had motors, so you had a handful of guys that had Torqeedos that did well. Anybody with like a bow-mounted trolling motor couldn't fish in the current. One person, Rich Biggie, was doing a float, had his wife pick him up at a ramp. She would bring him up north. He'd do a float back down. She'd meet him at a ramp, and he just kept doing that. I don't know if it was the same ramp or not, but he was in a really small kayak. I think he might have been in like a sit-in or something. But so we got to pay attention to the river. We should probably come up with a backup.
Just good.
Maybe not Raystown. Although have heard who was it that said Raystown? Somebody that fished there said it's the best fishery in Pennsylvania. Somebody told us that recently.
Somebody told us that.
Who was that?
That was Jacob. I thought it was Jacob Stone.
No, it wasn't.
No, I think he said it was terrible.
No.
Maybe not. But a lot of people from Pennsylvania say it's garbage. But yeah, is that it? Susky, and then
Great Pond, Mesalonsky.
Winnie in October.
Winnie the championship. Yeah. That's depends. October could get on a big largemouth bite.
It's really gonna depend. It's gonna depend on the summer leading into it, right? The summer leading into the fall, what the weather's like. Because last year I feel like was a little bit cooler. Well, last year on Lake George, we're not there yet, but it was a little bit on the cooler side, I would say. Yeah, I think he's right. I think Matt's right. Matt Sapalo is right on. It's going to be a scope event.
The KBF event that I was at, I probably could have won that. I was fishing docks.
I should know this, but what month did we say we're doing George?
No idea.
Next year, July.
I'm gonna have to go back to the video.
I'm pretty sure July.
We're trying to survive this one.
June was Champlain. May is Cayuga. July is and then August was Susky. Main ones were September.
I'm trying to see if I have it written down somewhere.
Take your word. I'll take your word for
it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
October is when he.
Are you looking it up?
I'm not finding it. So yeah, we can just.
I don't think we wrote it down anywhere, but
August. Thank you. We'll get back to that.
It's a killer schedule. We do have our date for Cayuga.
Well, we'll share it at some point.
Yeah, we'll share it.
We'll share all the dates.
We'll work it through that.
It's tournament week. We got a little bit of a grace here, I would think.
Yeah, we're trying to work with the other trails, try to avoid conflicts and stuff like that. So,
I gotta think that May is an in-demand month for Cayuga because a certain trail went there in May a few years ago.
Yeah,
might have been our first event ever. I don't know if that's why, but it seems to be because I feel like May has gotten more and more crowded each year ever since. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure one of the bigger trails, the Hobie or Bassmaster, will be there. They have been every year since for the past 3-4 years, right? I think.
Yeah.
Maybe not that long, but past couple of years at least. So you will have. A chance to fish with us and then a chance to fish with them probably. So, fish both.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, fish both of them.
I don't know how we got on this, but we're talking about the forward-facing stuff. What do we think?
Yeah, I have no idea. Oh, I asked about which of our events you think could be won without.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So it could play in all of them, really.
It doesn't mean it'll win.
It'll work in all of them.
Yeah, for some of them.
Other than Susky, I don't think you're going to.
Yeah, I don't know much about the Susky except that I suck at it. But my screens were flickering again. Remember last time?
Man, here we go.
But there are some deeper holes, deeper sections down by like Harrisburg and stuff, City Island. It's pretty deep, so it might play down there. I have no idea. I mean, it's hard to beat that shallow stuff though. If you watch the videos, that is insane. But so you never know.
Yeah, it'd be
some
good.
People, that might be the deal for some people. Get out there in that deeper water.
It makes things more interesting, that's for sure. If either one is in play, I think that just makes for a more exciting tournament.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I mean, I think the winning, based on what I've seen since I have fished there, it seems like that. You got to be fishing in 3 inches of water, and catching 20-inch smallies places wild, Because I mean, that's what I focused on. I focused on, besides that one tournament where I couldn't actually fish the river. I just sit there and fish an eddy right outside the ramp. When we went there a couple of years later or the year after, I focused on the deeper holes, and I launched at Harrisburg, the ramp down there, and I didn't catch crap, And then we went to Goldsboro the second day. Me and John, we drove down together, and same deal, a little bit deeper there, and didn't catch crap. So, I mean, we did terrible. It was absolutely brutal. So, I don't know if that deeper water is going to play at all.
It makes me wonder. If I like. It's got me thinking about my setup now, and if I need a river version, which I probably do. But cross that.
I mean,
cross that bridge someday.
What a river? What a kayak?
Yeah, like someday if I ever fish Susky.
I think the Take 2 is not a bad kayak for there. Maybe how does it paddle? Like the Nar, I can't bring it up.
I mean, it probably some people say it paddles great. It is not. My setup as we speak is not.
Yeah, you need
not ready for
smaller kayaks. I mean, I don't want to get. You can't paddle my kayak at all.
I would have to get a Newport or Torpedo.
You can dig in and do the hardest stroke, no pun intended, that you can do, and that freaking kayak will move 3 inches.
Oh yeah,
it's brutal.
Yeah,
it's brutal.
Did you take the big rig?
Gerard had to save me.
I had the big rig out there, the original, and that's got a flatter bottom, so that actually is not that bad of a kayak for that place. It's probably
especially
a little
with that
big,
motor.
like ideally a little too big, but it does respond. It responds way better than the Nar. The Nar is just too. It's got a lower draft, and it's too big.
Yeah.
So I definitely. If I ever want to fish there again, I have to get a different kayak.
Well, well, shucks, another kayak.
Yep.
Another kayak to build. All right, what do we think? We good for? We good? We done? We're running out of steam.
Yeah, sure.
We got a long week ahead of us. We got to kind of rest up.
Yeah. So once again, for those who might not have been here earlier, if you're going to be up at Kennebec. We'll be up there on Wednesday, so if you're around, we'll probably be looking to meet up with some people, do some interviews, get some on-the-water footage. So hit us up, let us know if you're going to be there, and we'll come to you. And obviously, we won't tell anybody where you're at. We won't release any of that stuff until tournament day on the live broadcast. But yeah, let us know.
Yeah, please do. And if you're not sure about fishing this week. If you've never heard of the Kennebec, if you missed the beginning part of this podcast, definitely watch it afterwards. But it is fishing better than it has in years. So please, and this is not just a sales pitch to get you to sign up. Obviously, like we'd rather not deal with people angry that they're not catching fish in a river. We're just trying to get entries. We mean it. Check out Judy Richardson's post. She talks about it. She and John went up, had a great day of fishing. Pleasantly surprised. So hopefully you all. If you're on the fence, you decide to make the trip. Let us know if you need a place to stay. If you're interested in staying at Snow Pond again. What are the other stuff? Interviews, Snow Pond availability. Yeah, so that. Let us know. And also, there's some rooms at the Best Western. Is that right, Ken?
Yeah, the Best Western gave us a deal. 100
Waterville.
Yeah, Waterville. That's where the award's going to be. It'll be a cash bar. And you said earlier that we can get food at the restaurant.
Yeah, the restaurant opens at 4:00.
Little bit better than we usually have for an awards location. They're pretty tough to come by. Even the places that we usually have them at are pretty expensive. So it's nice to have a place like this that we can go to for the awards.
Big thanks to Mike for that.
Yeah, Mike Guarino from Fish. Bass with the Bass Fishing
Mid-Maine
Bass Fishing. That's right. Yeah, geez. So yeah, big shout out to Mike for hooking us up.
You know who we're talking about. It's Mike he's a Mike that's always been at our events since the first Mesolonsky event at Snow Pond and continues to be now. So
yeah, he used to work Mike Pond. So yep.
All right, we good?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, everybody. Yeah, thank you. Hope to see you this week.
Yep. If you're not there, watch the broadcast on Saturday.
Yep. And listen to us talk some more.
Yep.
All right. Take care, everybody.
See ya.